and welcome to episode 3 of Games Mania here on Condor Online. And today I'm joined by Chase. You all know him?
Yeah, we all know Chase.
It's great to have Chase here today. And we're going to start first of all, we're going to talk about Detective Pikachu, which came out quite recently, and we've both seen it, so we're going to have a little bit of a discussion about that. And then we're going to move on to video game movies and our feelings on what's gone before and some of our favourites perhaps, least favourites maybe as well.
Yeah.
And then lastly we're going to end on something Chase suggested, which is we're going to talk about Chase's retro games experience with the ColecoVision.
Yes, I'm old enough to remember ColecoVision.
ColecoVision is another system I'm very familiar with, so I'm very much looking forward.
What's the cartridge?
Yeah, it is. And apparently it's better than the Atari 2600.
With your guns.
So, we're going to start with Detective Pikachu. First of all, I'm going to ask you, Chase, what did you think of Detective Pikachu?
Well, of course I was excited, when it first came out, the game first came over here, of course my son wanted it right away and everything, and only played it once. But then when I heard that Ryan Reynolds, was doing the voice, I was really excited to see it. And, so when it came out, do you want to go into what my first initial reactions was? I thought it was really interesting in the sense where you didn't have to be a fan of the games to enjoy the film. It had a really good dramatic core at the center of it.
It was a solid film.
Yeah, it was a solid film. But what was great was, especially from the trailer, and the film didn't disappoint, was seeing the characters live. To me, like that wide shot of the Greninjas.
Yeah,
absolutely. That the Greninja chase was really awesome, and Mewtwo and all of that. So, I enjoyed the film. I was kind of confused by the end, which I'll get to later.
Yeah, maybe I can shed some light on that for you, because that pretty much, I found it easy to follow. I found it an engaging and enjoyable film, and I'm actually quite surprised they pulled it off as well as they did, really, because it's not often video game films turn out very good. I'd say, I'm not going to say my scoring till the end. I was going to give it a score out of 10, but...
Do you know who made the film? Because I would think that
Warner
it has
Brothers.
Well,
I don't know the director.
No, I don't mean like the director. I meant like the company. Because was it shot here or was it shot in Japan or anything like that? Because
I think it's a US production.
Yeah. Because there was something uniquely different about the film.
I heard it had a Pokemon expert on set every day.
Oh, well, there we go.
And that's probably why it's so true to the source material, because often with video game movies they get it wrong and they make it far too different from the games. At least in this, it feels like Pokemon. It doesn't feel out of place. It feels different. It feels the same but different.
It was very much like an updated version of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, because it was very clever in how they interacted the characters with the live action. Like when Bob Hoskins was a detective. And he was in the Toon World.
Eddie Valiant.
Yeah. So this is bringing in Justice Smith, who very much is like Will Smith Jr. I don't know, but we all know him from the Get Down. And bringing in Justice Smith, he did a really good job.
I liked him. I thought he was perfect, and also playing a character which was sort of disengaged with Pokemon. It's kind of
like he was a fan, and then he lost his dad, and that's at the core of the story.
And that was maybe a conscious effort for people who maybe drifted away from Pokemon of my age, who haven't stayed with it, and then welcome them into the film like that. I thought that was very clever, because at the beginning of the film, shall we jump into some spoilers? We're not going to be able to do this without talking about spoilers.
We can do spoilers, man. So what we do, we just tell people this is definitely going to be a spoiler review. It's been out for like 2 weeks now. Actually, it's the highest rated. It's made the highest money of any game movie. I think it's at 58 million now and everything like that, and it's the highest, but definitely I just saw that this morning, it's the highest rated video game movie. So I think people have seen it.
I think it's certainly deserving of that accolade as well. Anyway, yes, it begins with a setup which feels very familiar to any Pokemon fan, with Justice Smith's character. You know what, I've already forgotten his name. That's terrible, isn't it? Tim. Wow. Thanks, Chase. Him and a colleague of his are out, and his friend's trying to persuade him to catch Pokemon.
Yeah, like he's dressed like Ash Ketchum.
Yeah, that guy's like the Pokemon trainer.
And then they're out. It's like they're out doing Pokemon Go, which is the popular thing last year. Yeah. So that was really a good thing when they made the film. Yeah. It's kind of like it begins with a Pokemon Go kind of sequence.
I was a bit worried about it at first because it looked like your typical video game movie, where especially with his friend dressed up like a Pokemon trainer, and they're totally playing it for laughs. And but then Justice Smith came in. You know, he's now was he like an accountant or something? He's wearing a tie, and his friend was trying to get him to catch his Pokemon. Yeah. That kind of brought it back for me. You know, I think Justice Smith was like, okay, now I'm in it. I believe this.
It also looked good, the ball and the
everything they did, other than the fact it was like Pokemon Go and not like the Pokemon video games. Because in the video games, you have to weaken the Pokemon, you have to have your own Pokemon in order to catch Pokemon. Over time, that's changed, and even in Let's Go Pikachu for the Switch, they adopted the same mechanic as in Pokemon Go, where you just sort of throw the ball and catch it. Which is what he doesn't actually catch a Pokemon.
No.
But it kind of leads you into the bigger story. And that was the very clever thing they did with this. They set it in a city where Pokemon and humans work together. Therefore, the Pokemon weren't always in the Pokeballs, weren't hidden away. They were on screen all the time. It was like Toontown in Roger Rabbit.
And he was also one of the rare people who didn't have a Pokemon. So every time he came upon somebody, they were like, "Where's your Pokemon? Where's your Pokemon?" Oh, you know what I mean?
Of course, he winds up in this city. It's called Rhyme City because his father has passed away. His father's a detective.
Yeah, and I asked my son about Rhyme City, and I said, did that exist in the world? You know, like where they would usually go around to the different places where they have the Pokemon tournaments. He said, no.
No, so made up.
Yeah, it's made up, yeah.
But that's absolutely fine. I don't have a problem with that. No, it's founded by, what's his name, the actor?
Bill Nye.
Bill Nye. When Bill Nye's face popped up on the screen, I was a little bit taken aback because I had no idea he was in the film at all.
Exactly.
And he's in the film a little.
But he plays a character from, when I was looking at some of the making of it, it's reminiscent of a character in Pokemon series, you know, like...
he's probably a Giovanni type character. Giovanni's a big villain in the Pokemon games. Exactly. He's not the same character. In fact, the film takes a lot of cues from the anime, but twists them into its own thing. In fact,
like what Kieran said, like hopefully they don't do a Brock character.
Yeah, there wasn't a Brock character.
So no, they did not.
That would have been difficult because Brock's always got his eyes closed. He's probably bumping into walls all the time. But the film actually starts off very reminiscent of Pokemon the first movie. You see Mewtwo at the very beginning of the film, and that's sort of the threat looming over the film from the very beginning. You know somewhere Mewtwo's involved, but you don't know quite where. Yeah.
You also don't know if evil or good, but
yeah, that's right.
Kind of play on
it's similar to the original Pokemon movie, which is great for fans because you get something you can latch onto. The same but different.
I like that.
Yeah. So in Rhyme City, it's amazing seeing all the Pokemon. I was just like trying to take everything in. As soon as Tim arrived in the city, and you saw the Pokemon littered around the place, it was pretty exciting for me.
Yeah.
And then eventually he goes to he meets Ken Watanabe first, doesn't he?
Well, Ken Watanabe, the great Ken Watanabe, playing a cop who was, I wouldn't say he was the partner of his dad, but he knew his dad.
He knew his dad, yeah. He was the one to kind of tell him a little bit more about what happened.
Where's your Pokemon?
Yes, and that's apparent from the beginning. You still don't have a Pokemon. Everyone's got a Pokemon. Even Ken Watanabe, who was a Snubble. And that was quite funny.
Oh, right,
The scene with Snubble.
He was an angry Snubble.
Also really big. When you play the game, you don't necessarily know how big the Pokemon are. So when you see some of these Pokemon on screen, I'm sure that, because every Pokemon has a height in the game, so I'm sure everything's accurate to the game. It just was surprising to see how big some of the Pokemon, or how small
you're right. It's good that we got those different fluctuations in sizes.
Yeah. So Ken Watanabe sends him on his way to his dad's office, basically, where he encounters Pikachu. First of all, he encounters the purple mist stuff.
He
finds in a vial. So what he searches.
So is that from the game, or is that something created for the movie? Okay.
But I thought it was like to the game when he noticed it had R written on it. Now R, to me, as a Pokemon fan, says Team Rocket, the big villains of Pokemon. So I thought it was like throwing curveballs at you all the time. This film.
Probably though, because it was. I mean, I don't know what it was called, but I think it was a good alluding to Team
Rocket. It alludes to a bigger world which could be expanded on an inevitable sequel. How Team Rocket are involved.
Ooh,
but
that'd be great.
Yeah, this purple mist sort of floats off, and then it affects these Apons.
Yeah,
which are the monkey Pokemon.
Little barrel of monkeys.
Yeah. And they go crazy. This happened before or after he meets Pikachu, I forget. Around the same time.
It's at the same time because Pikachu doesn't remember who he is.
Yeah.
So he's not very helpful in this kind of situation.
And Pikachu turns out to be his father's Pokemon, who is thought to have died along with his father in a car crash.
Right. Yeah. And then we would assume, so that's what it is. He lost his memory.
So Pikachu says he lost his memory, but he's adamant he's going to find out who did this. He's got his little detective hat on, and the reluctant Justice Smith is kind of like, I'm not sure if I want to get into this, but Pikachu's very insistent. And the comedy begins right there with Ryan Reynolds' amazing portrayal of Pikachu. I really like the way he did it.
Slapping him with his tail and everything.
There's a lot of comedy in there.
Also, I gotta say, in that scene in the bar, it's like before he decides to, get on the phone because everybody's looking at him. Who are you talking to?
Oh yeah. Right? Well, he must establish now that only Justice Smith, Tim, can understand Pikachu. Yeah. Everyone else just thinks he sounds like a Pikachu.
Yeah.
Pika. Yeah.
And but it's green screen, working his own stuff. It's green screen, but he does an excellent job. Justice does he sells it.
Absolutely, I was totally believe.
Especially with the whole
and it must be a real challenge to act against something that's not actually there. But Ryan Reynolds does make Pikachu feel very real. It's a great portrayal. I think he's funny, and I didn't know if I'd like him actually.
But also in watching some behind scenes, the voice of Pika is the actual voice of the girl, the Asian girl who plays in the game.
Yeah, in the TV series.
So when Ryan Reynolds said, "Do you want me to do a voice?" He said, "No, we want you to be Ryan Reynolds. We hired you to be Ryan Reynolds." Sure. But every time it's Pika, it's the actual actress who plays Pika in the game.
Okay. Wow, that's cool. So on Tim's travels to find out how his father died, he meets the reporter character, the female character. I can't remember the actress's name.
I can't remember the actress's name, but I gotta tell you that she looks the spit of Téa Leoni. Okay. You know who Téa Leoni is?
Rings a bell.
So Téa Leoni, first of all, is a gorgeous actress who was in Bad Boys with Will Smith.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So.
Do you think she looked like her? I didn't.
I thought she looked like because she could be
a younger
version of her. I thought, hey, in the casting, that's why she was hired. So I thought it was really weird that you got Will Smith and Téa Leoni again. Bad Boys.
She looks familiar, but I can think the only thing I've ever seen her in is 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
I saw that movie, but I don't remember that girl.
She's the daughter of the main character.
Oh, well, there we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
So that must have been it.
Yeah, so she does look like her. But she was amazing. Really beautiful. I thought that it was one of those throwaway kind of like girl characters, but who wasn't the damsel in distress, who was resourceful. Yeah. And, they had that great adventure into the space we're going to talk about. But I thought they totally just got rid of her in the end. You know what I mean? But we'll get that way and get to the end.
Yeah, so they team up reluctantly. Well, do they team up straight away? So
no, because she goes away. She's a reporter, and or she wants to be a reporter. She's like an intern, so he meets her, and then it's when he decides to go on his investigation. That's when he gets her help.
There's a cool scene where they go back to the father's apartment and they commit to this quest, and Pikachu and Justice Smith are in his bedroom that his dad had made up for him. Because the thing is that the family is separated. His dad always wanted to come and stay, but he didn't. He felt hurt by his dad leaving to the big city. He felt like his dad favoured Pokemon over him.
Yeah.
After his mother passed away.
Yeah. She eventually passed away.
Yeah.
So they split, and he chose the mom, and then the mom passed away.
Yeah, that's what happened. Yeah. But they're in the bedroom, which his dad had made up for him because, he loved Pokemon as a kid. And Pikachu's going through the Pokemon cards. That got me. That was a
real, real meta. Yeah, those were supposed to be real cards, yeah.
That was funny. Seeing the bedroom with all the posters on. That's where they crammed in a load of references to the video games. It was very good the way they did this. The video game references were in the background. They weren't pushed
No, but
hard.
this is what I'm trying to say. Is it wasn't like you had to be a diehard fan, and you never got lost. In the sauce and everything like that, you know. And some of the characters go all the way back to the beginning. As my son said, you know, like the Mine character.
Yes.
You know, was supposed to be one of like the original.
That's right. There was a good mix of Pokemon from all over the different games.
The Snorlax sleeping in the middle of the street.
Yeah. They picked a lot of the classic ones that you'd recognise, and it was actually surprised. I guess they picked most of the popular ones. Apom was an odd one because not particularly famous Pokemon, but they probably chose what they chose for a reason. It fit the story and it made sense at that part of the film.
Yeah.
So there's this guy who runs a city, played by Bill Nighy, who is in the background of the film all the time, really. And his son,
he's more like the father and son.
He's
the one who brought all the Pokemon together.
Yeah, and created
and
the
everything
city
like that. Yeah.
But he's they wind up seeking him, don't they? And on their quest.
Yeah, and you know, because probably we should like jump through it so we can get
that's good.
But like he eventually shows them a hologram of like what happened to his dad, and everything, and they leads them to the place where Mewtwo was being held, and it seemed like that was the plan all along, was to get them there. And everything.
It is quite a complex story, really. You do have to think about what's going on a bit.
Well,
it's easy enough to understand, but there are quite a lot of elements going on here. But and I wondered if I was a kid whether I'd be able to.
Probably not, but it's one of those things that they want you to watch it more than once, and then it's those things that the pearls will drop. You know what I mean? So it's like that. But yeah. So when they get to this place, and he goes with the girl and their Pokemons, and now he seems to be getting more and more comfortable with Pikachu and stuff like that, like letting him ride on the shoulder. They go to the base, where Mewtwo was held, and they get more information. But what's interesting is like, I like Greninja, right? Like
with the big tongue that wraps around like a scarf.
But they give you a little bit of creepiness, like when they open up the cages and the Greninja fingers come out, and everything.
They were in parts of experiments to make sort of powered up Pokemon, which, funnily enough, back in the original Pokemon movie, Mewtwo was collecting Pokemon, making clones of Pokemon. So it's reminiscent to that, because there's a scene in the original movie where they enter Mewtwo's lair and he's got all these Pokemon behind glass.
So it's not hard to believe that Mewtwo could be evil.
At this point, if you've finished Pokemon, you're probably thinking that maybe Mewtwo's behind all of this.
So that's probably where it helps, like for the fandom and stuff like that. We're gonna lead you down this road and everything.
Absolutely.
And so this is where it got unreal for me.
Okay.
And I know that it's a video game movie and everything like that. But the chase through the woods.
The extended scene, which goes on for a while. And leaves you guessing.
Well, what do they call them? Those torteras. Where these giant turtles are the landscape of the woods, but they're like able to tumble around and tumble down hills and they fall into the water, and nobody got a scrape.
Apart from Pikachu.
Oh yeah, apart from Pikachu.
So
the hero who is like on death's door. You gotta help me, and that's where the Squirtles come out.
Bulbasaurs.
Bulbasaurs. Oh, so they weren't Squirtle?
No, the little green ones with the bulb on the back. They're Bulbasaurs.
See, look at that.
So they've escaped from the lab. They've learned some more about what was going on, and then Pikachu gets hurt in this escape sequence, and the Bulbasaurs lead to a little valley or whatever, a little alcove where the nature and Mewtwo appears and heals Pikachu, and you get the feeling that, hang on, maybe Mewtwo's maybe not the bad guy, or what's going on here?
And everything. And so now that Mewtwo gets his memory and his powers. And not Mewtwo. Pikachu gets his memory and his powers now.
Yes, because to this point, Pikachu's not been able to use his powers. There's a cool fighter on the film which we didn't
because we skipped over it because you can't go through everything. But everybody's seen it in the trailer, the cage fight with Charizard, and everything like that.
It's a great sequence.
It is. But I think you alluded to the fact that he's going to use his powers in that fight. So they cut it really well in the trailer. But then he's like, no, I can't fight.
He can't do it. Yeah, he's forgotten how to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in the end, should we kind of just
let's go
through
to the
this?
end.
Yeah, you find out that Bill Nye is responsible for the whole thing.
Yeah, you find out Bill Nye is that guy. Wow.
And you think they've pushed this idea of the son being the bad guy.
I think they did that really cleverly.
Yeah,
you know.
So you really do feel like.
And then you gotta say, this is when they had some fantastic makeup face. What is that character called?
Ditto.
Ditto.
Yeah.
Fantastic. When the girl took the glasses off and she had like the fake, doll eyes.
There's a girl watching Tim's character throughout the film who's got the pink hair, and you think that might, to me, that's like, oh, is that Jessie? Because she's got the pink hair, Jessie from the Pokemon series. So they threw you another one there. And then it turns out that is Ditto taking a human form, which in the sequence near the end,
Toontown again. Lloyd.
This happens consistently, and you see lots of different characters. Ditto changes into the girl who's befriended Tim. And of course, when Ditto transforms something else, his eyes don't change.
Yeah.
So you get these. It's very scary, actually.
Scary and creepy, but it's great effects. Yeah. And so they keep going back and forth. Who's the bad guy? Who's the bad guy? Again, when you got people jumping off of roofs and hanging out of windows, I'm kind of like, I like stunts too, man. But it's just like I hate it. I hate those little unrealistic things about it, Like when Justice Smith's hanging out the window, right, and everything, and the son had to come and save him and everything, and it's just kind of like, oh man, you're hanging out a window of a skyscraper, bro.
So, Bill Nye wanted to do away with Tim's father because I guess he knew about what was going on.
Yeah, and he wanted to, and he had some head device that made him his consciousness into
the Pokemon. So the idea is that Bill Nye's character is so obsessed with the next evolution of the human race, he thinks humans should transfer their consciousness into Pokemon.
Remember, his body is weak because he's in a wheelchair.
There's also that point.
That's why he wants selfishness.
But his plan is to turn the entire...
So they
turn all the
spraying
people in the city
and
into
this is what went wrong for me.
Yeah.
Because they start spraying the city. And
with the purple gas,
with purple, our gas.
Which is complicated because it turns Pokemon really strong, but it also has the ability to help. They can only transfer the consciousness when the Pokemon are under influence of the purple gas. So there's, it's a lot of
Pokemon is able to take over their human hosts.
Yeah.
And everything, meaning the human hosts become the Pokemon.
Yes. And then the human just disappears into nothing.
Yeah, exactly. So, really? Where did they go? Have you ever heard about energy camp destroyed or created? Either way is, they saved the day, and Mewtwo magically had the power to stop the gas from infecting people.
Oh yeah, he fixes everything.
It's like Mewtwo went around into space and flew around the Earth a couple of times.
Yeah. They resolve it pretty quickly.
But
Mewtwo is the most powerful Pokemon, so he does have a lot of powers. He definitely has a healing power in the games.
Yeah,
so
but
you can believe that he might be able to do something like that.
Yeah, okay.
But Bill Nye has put himself into Mewtwo. That's his thing. But then,
here's
the
big reveal. So Detective Pikachu, the reason why he lost his memory was because Mewtwo had transferred Tim's father's consciousness into Pikachu.
To save his father.
Right, so, and then he took his father. So that was like what they saw. It wasn't like he took it for evil purposes. It was because his father was Detective Pikachu all the time.
Which is obvious about partway middle of the film. Where they're having a conversation and they're chatting. This is Tim and Pikachu. And Pikachu says something to the effect of, if your father was here, I'm sure he'd hug you and tell you everything was going to be all right. Yeah. And you see Pikachu's eyes and you go, somewhere in Pikachu he knows who he is, really.
Yeah.
But so from that point on, I knew that was eventually going to happen.
But then Tim, who didn't seem to be willing to forgive his father, didn't want a Pokemon. So when he slowly became enamored with Pikachu, it's kind of like he's trying to slowly forgive his father. So here's the thing that confused me in the end.
Okay.
That final scene at the train station where Ryan Reynolds, who's the dad...
He's back now in this whole consciousness thing.
And the dad, they keep showing the dad from behind, right, throughout the movie. He comes out with a train ticket and says, you could go back to your grandma's and everything else
like that. He thinks that what he wants after all the mistakes he's made. Maybe he feels like he's a bad father, and he'll think that he just wants to go home back to his mother.
So, I mean, for me, I was kind of like, wait a minute, what happened? What is this the past?
No, his mother's not there, is she? His grandmother is...
Grandma,
sorry, yeah.
So what is this, the past? I don't understand what's going on. And everything, but then the son decides he wants to stay, and, he needs a job.
I didn't get the feeling it was the past.
You know what, dude? Maybe I was just kind of like, what's going on with this movie? But my son had to explain it to me.
All right.
So, okay. So, it's the present. It just was an awkward change.
Okay.
I think the reason why it was awkward was because once you set up the love interest, you gotta be, they gotta be together forever.
Ah, yeah.
But then she's got the interview job, like she's not gonna be a reporter.
Yeah, so...
And she even says, I'm gonna go on the air, watch me, and they cut all of that stuff out. She's not there in the end.
No.
You know what I mean? So even though he's decided to stay, obviously he's going to probably go to her. But it just felt like something felt cut out.
Okay.
In the mix of that.
Maybe.
And, they just jumped right to the end scene. So maybe that's what it was.
Yeah, that could have done...
I felt disjointed.
With a bit more expanding. It could have been a 2-hour movie. I think that would have been okay. One thing they could have done more of is develop Bill Nye's character and his... So he founded Rhyme City because he could see that people in Pokemon needed to work together. Yeah. So he had a fondness for Pokemon. Mm-hmm. He wanted to maybe be a Pokemon.
I think he wanted to be a Pokemon.
Yeah, but I just feel like he needed some more development.
Yeah, no, definitely. It was like, let's not develop him because we want people to be confused and they're confused, and so boom, we're happy.
At the end of the day, it worked. There were some things. At the end of the day,
it's a good film.
But it's the best video game movie I've ever seen.
It is, as far as the highest rated. So what I would do is I still would give it like an 8 because I still feel a little bit like lost, not because I don't know Pokemon, but because of the story element side of things. Yeah. What do you give it?
My rating criteria is probably different from yours then. I'd give it a 7. I'd say 7 for me is a solid, good, enjoyable film.
Wow, that means you like it less than me?
Maybe not. I don't know. I think I just rate things in a different way.
Okay.
If it has to have some real emotional connection to be an 8 for me. It has to really hit something. And for me, I just thought it was a solid, good, entertaining film that was true to the source material. And it's a miracle it turned out as good as it did. It's also a fresh twist on Pokemon, which is great to see. I think if they did it exactly like the games...
It's definitely, way better than any other Pokemon movie. And
I'd say the first movie's pretty good, but I'm with you, Chase. It's better than any animated Pokemon movie.
I would like to see Jessie and Rocket, though.
Yeah, I'd like to see in a sequel a bit more development of Team Rocket.
Evil Meowth and stuff.
There's so much they can do with it, so I look forward to more.
Yeah.
Now, are there any other video game movies you like?
Well, I'm... Again, old. So, I come from the early period of video game movies, so I would have to say, based on the soundtrack alone, Mortal Kombat!
Okay. Dun, 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 dun. Mortal Kombat, always the one that comes up when people say a good adaptation.
Well, because, you got Mortal Kombat versus Street Fighter, and Street Fighter should be awesome because of Jean-Claude Van Damme, but it's not. And because of Ryu and Ken, it's not.
But don't you think that Mortal Kombat is a boring film? To me, it's not a good film.
No, it's not.
But it's very true to the game, and that's why I think people hold it in such high regard. Whereas Street Fighter isn't.
Well, I think you have to base it upon the characters, right? Yeah. So, like with Mortal Kombat, you got really good Scorpion and Sub-Zero. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You got excellent renditions of Liu Kang.
Goro's great.
Cage. Who?
Goro, the big guy with the 4 arms.
Oh yeah. But then when the Indian doctor becomes the Dali guy and everything like that, you gotta base it upon the characters. Now I probably got the Indian doctor in the wrong movie because I think he was in the Street Fighter movie.
That's right. That's him who's from the Street Fighter movie. They're talking about Goro from Mortal Kombat, the big guy with the 4 arms.
Sorry.
Yeah.
But Mortal Kombat, and then also, I'm a big fan of Highlander.
I like Highlander, but it's not a game.
No.
Mr. Lambert, you're moving on. Sorry.
And Raiden, Raiden, you know what I mean? So I just love that movie. And that movie is spawned so many different sequels, which are not worthwhile. This movie is based on the soundtrack alone. just that cue of Mortal Kombat. You just, now they're making a new one.
Mortal Kombat?
They're making a new one. And so they're going at it again. Because that music.
Do you know what I'd say? I like Street Fighter the movie better than Mortal Kombat. Even though it's a bad movie, I think it's quite entertaining. It's a silly film. It's quite campy.
I don't like the final group pose at the end.
That's wonderful. One of my favourite bits. But I would rather watch that than Mortal Kombat, just because I think Mortal Kombat's a bit dull. I'd watch in isolation. Some of the fight scenes from Mortal Kombat are good. Yeah. I mean, it's a similar setup to Enter the Dragon, isn't it? Really.
Yeah. Exactly. And I think that's definitely something that people should watch as Mortal Kombat versus Street Fighter. That's a good double feature. So speaking of that, Double Dragon,
no, that's bad. I've not seen it yet, but I've heard it's bad. But I must check it out just to see. So we just talked about fighting game movies. Of course, we've had Super Mario Brothers, the movie, another movie I quite enjoy. Amazing production. Amazing production values, entertaining film. I like it. Okay. Other film, that Warcraft was a big one. That wasn't that bad, was it?
Warcraft should have been good and it should have been better, but I think what happened was it was taking too long to make, and I think it just got sloppy in the edit with that Duncan Jones. And they were trying to prep it as a trilogy, and you never even heard about the second one being made now.
Yeah, it wasn't. But it was one of the better ones, I would say. I really didn't like the last Tomb Raider film. I saw it at the cinema, and I was really let down by it. I felt it had a lot of flaws.
Alicia Vikander is making the second one.
Is she? Right, she's okay. I don't dislike her.
She's good. I mean, she was more physically better than Angelina Jolie, but I do like the first Angelina Jolie Tomb Raider.
I do too. I think they're okay. They're better than that new one. The thing is, the new one does well. It looks like the last game. When they rebooted the game and they released, I think 3 new ones. There were sequences in the film that felt like the game, but the film story and some of the logic behind things that happened
the whole
in the
dad
film.
The
dad thing, that ruined it because she's meant to survive on that island alone. Her dad just can't be there to help her out.
No.
It was going down a different route, and as soon as they introduced the dad,
total Bombville and everything. Did you see Doom?
I didn't see Doom. Never seen Doom.
With
Dwayne.
The Rock. Yeah, I haven't either because I've given up on video game movies by then.
I like Need for Speed.
Is that not what Jesse
Pinkman from what's his name now?
I didn't even know it was a video game movie, so how about that?
I thought it was a movie. I thought it was alright. It was a bit long.
I just didn't know it was a video game.
But I say the worst of the worst for me, King of Fighters, if you've ever seen that.
Nope.
Do you know the franchise King of Fighters?
Nope.
It's a 2D fighting game like Street Fighter. Terrible film. It's got Ray Park in it, who played Darth Maul in Star Wars.
I love Ray Park. He was supposed to be Iron Fist. Hold on.
Tekken as well is terrible. Just tell you that. The live action
wait. Did you see Fist of the North Star?
Yes, that was good.
I meant the cartoon, not the movie with Gary Daniels.
I like the live action film from what I remember of it. But there are good.
You are already dead. Or something like
quite good animated video game.
The animated movie, which was R-rated animated, was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, that's also. I was thinking of another one that was Street Fighter 2. Street Fighter 2, the animated movie isn't bad either. Yeah, that's a pretty good one. That's often considered one of the better adaptations. But if you leave the animated versions out of they haven't been that great in general. Pokemon, the first movie's animated, that's pretty good. Dead or Alive was entertaining, if you saw that. Based on another fighting game. There's a trend here. Prince of Persia is very forgettable.
I think so. Jake Gyllenhaal, in his first attempt to be a superhero. But
I can't remember anything that happened in that film.
It was a lot of sand. A lot of jumping.
There were ostriches.
Assassin's Creed.
I
have not seen it.
Fassbender.
But I wanted to see it.
I've heard it wasn't that good.
No, exactly.
Willing to give it a go though. Yeah. But there's more coming. We've got a new Angry Birds film coming out now.
No!
Angry Birds 2, that's based on a game. Animated again though.
No.
The Sonic movie, we'll wait and see
on
that.
Did you see the trailer?
Yeah, I've seen the trailer.
Yeah, I'm not interested.
Well, it's Call of Duty movies in development. Believe it or not.
Okay.
Carmen Sandiego.
Wait. The Carmen Sandiego cartoon on Netflix.
Yeah. So she's coming back in a big way. I remember the original cartoon.
Can I say something about Carmen Sandiego? because I'm old, Carmen San Diego was one of the first adventure video games on computer, right? When they was still data entry and everything like that. You know, when you still had to do random number generators and stuff. And that was one of my first video games in the screen. Was Carmen San Diego, since we're going to go into that. But I loved the actual adventure storytelling of that. Then when I tried to watch the cartoon in this first episode, I couldn't even get through the whole episode.
This is the new Netflix cartoon.
Yeah.
Because there's an old one, which wasn't
No, I'm talking about the new one. Yeah. But I think I did hear of Gina Rodriguez or something like that.
Okay.
You know who's the version on TV or whatever?
Is she married to Robert Rodriguez?
No, she's not.
No, not that one. Something might interest you. There's a Centipede film in development and a Missile Command film in development. Whether it'll ever happen, I don't know. But a Tetris film has been rumoured to be in development forever. A Soul Calibur film was. That could work.
That's like Hasbro versus Mattel. I mean, stop.
Crazy Taxi. You remember that video game? There was a film in development of that. There's a Duke Nukem film, Five Nights at Freddy's, Fruit Ninja film, Just Cause film, Half-Life, Gears of War.
I'm just baffled.
Whether or not all these films will actually end up being released. There's even Altered Beast film, which is an old Sega game, which I don't think anyone cares about anymore.
No.
But
you should have done Berserker.
I'd like to see a film based on the Rabbids. Remember the Raving Rabbids? It was a video game on the Wii.
No, I think I've seen that. They starred
alongside Rayman. They were kind of Rayman at the beginning, then he developed into their own thing. Basically, they're minions. So I don't know if.
Well, what about Legend of Zelda? Isn't that in development too?
Probably. I think there was a series in development.
Well, that's right.
So we'll have to wait and see on that. But let's draw a line under the video game movie scene.
Draw a line in it, man. There's too many of them.
And maybe we can just briefly, we haven't got much time left, touch on the ColecoVision.
Yeah, man, because we are running on time. But basically, after your last show, when you said you were going to talk about retro games, I was like saying, yeah, sure, I'd love to come on talking about it because when you were mentioning the cartridge games, that was to me, like, I had this old cartridge game. Like I said, I started out Commodore 64, then it's got the cartridge game, which my first game was Star Master.
I know that one.
And, like, for some reason, I'm a kid in Harlem, wanted to go to space. Like the last Starfighter, maybe, you know, and because I had the asteroids and the what was it? The other one you were talking about?
Missile Command, Centipede.
Oh, I had Missile Command, but no, you were talking about the one with the shooting ones.
Gallagher.
No, the long tubes that comes shooting out. Whatever we talked about that.
I can't remember now.
Oh man, I can't remember either.
I know Donkey Kong was a big one on the ColecoVision at least.
No, I mean like
that was a packing game with the system.
Really?
Yeah.
No, didn't have that one.
No.
Because I think also too, what I was trying to say to you is that so I got those games because in my local candy shop, you know, we had the pinball machine. Then we had the big, you know, what do you call it? The big game. Arcade machines that had like Cypress and Galaga and all of that kind of stuff. So, you know, I was just like any other kid, you know, coin after coin playing those machines to the point where we finally could get the home versions and everything. So Space Games was huge in the 70s and 80s.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Space Invaders would be the big one.
That's what it was, Space Invaders.
Sorry, that's the obvious one.
Space and we couldn't think of it.
I didn't think maybe your description wasn't quite, you know.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah. But yeah, you got a ColecoVision in the end, though. You were there.
Yeah. I mean, that's the name. That was the device. You know.
And that was released in '82.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was still maybe in high school.
And it was better than the Atari 2600 and the Intellivision in terms of it was the most powerful console on Earth at that point.
Well, that's what they tell.
Believe it or not. But even Nintendo were impressed. Apparently, it inspired Nintendo when they were developing their system because
exactly.
it really delivered an experience without. There were some flaws to Atari 2600.
So some flaws to it.
Yeah, Atari 2600 games weren't perfect, whereas what the ColecoVision managed to do is bring more of the arcade experience home.
Right.
So it felt more like you were at an arcade, that the graphics were a lot better. You know. Whereas there was flicker with the 2600. You know, it didn't replicate an arcade machine as well as apparently the ColecoVision did, but I've never played one, so I can't say.
So are those games I mentioned in 2 for you?
I haven't played many ColecoVision games, but I've played the games on different systems. I've played Missile Command Centipede on the 2600. On compilations, I've never owned one, but there's lots of compilations. I don't know if there's any ColecoVision compilations. There might be somewhere.
I mean, isn't it really just kind of like one of those early companies, that was out and everything, where they were selling game cartridges? And everything, because I don't think it really lasted.
No, it didn't last. 85, it all ended.
Yeah, well,
but that was partly due to the video game crash of 80. I think it was maybe just prior to that. But there was
video game crash.
Yeah, saturation of video games. There was too many of them, and people lost interest and moved on to computers.
Kind of like too many video game movies.
So that was, they call it the ColecoVision age, Atari 2600 and television. That was, I think, the second age of video games.
Yeah.
And before the crash, Nintendo managed to come back, revive the industry through the fact they sold it as a toy rather than a console, because they got around that with packaging the NES console with the robot, Rob the Robot. So that was how they got around it, how they tempted people back into buying a video game console through selling it as a toy. And then, of course, the rest, Nintendo, it's history, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just interesting, is that? So with that crash, who took over? I mean, was Atari still around?
It took down Atari, took down television, took down ColecoVision.
So then is this when Sega rules?
Well, it was Nintendo at first in the States, but in Japan, Sega was around, definitely. And eventually Sega became really popular in Europe. Here in the UK, Sega Master System was pretty popular, probably more popular than the NES. But in America, it was all about Nintendo, and Nintendo was the main one to have at that point.
Yeah. Well, no,
Well,
it's fascinating, man. Thanks for inviting me on to the show.
Absolute pleasure. Thanks for
I think we talked about Detective Pikachu for a lot, but
there was a lot to discuss. It's a quite complex film, I think.
It's mine. But I like that. I like that retro stuff. Hopefully, you got more in that.
Yeah, we can certainly talk more about that in future episodes. So that brings us to the end of the show. Thanks again to Chase for coming on, and we hope you've enjoyed this episode. We'll be back for more next time. And if you have any suggestions what you'd like to hear about, then let us know. But we can do another retro featured episode. I've had an idea maybe to discuss motion games at some point. The Wii and the Xbox Kinect.
Oh yeah.
So that might be a good topic.
Yeah, because there's also all those differences as far as like, the changes from Wii to Wii U and all of that kind of stuff.
How the industry has changed, because Microsoft backed out of that Kinect stuff eventually and pushed it under the carpet. Everyone was doing motion stuff at one point, and then why did it change? So
yeah, there we go.
And that's the end of the episode. Thanks again, and until next time, game on. Oh,
there
there's the camera.